The big news break, an India Today exclusive involving an ex-military intelligence chief. It's an explosive twist to the army corruption case. Arrest warrant out for ex-spy chief. In fact, army arrest warrant for 2 generals. The generals have refused to join the probe. They now face the prospect of an arrest. It's the biggest spy scam to hit the Indian Army. An ongoing investigation by an army court has unearthed a host of irregularities in a contract with a private sector software firm, Warrant. The probe shows army officials were complicit in the 165 crore rupees deal. The dramatic twist to the probe came on the 5th of the last month when a military court issued an arrest warrant for former Director General of Military Intelligence, Lieutenant General B.S. Thakur and Major General D.N. Asija of the Directorate of Military Intelligence for refusing to join the 2-year-old investigation. The army has ordered a court of inquiry in 2013 after military intelligence officials complained about irregularities in the procurement of satellite interpretation equipment from a Mumbai-based private sector software firm, Warrant India Limited. The court of inquiry has found certain procedural deviations where the Directorate of Military Intelligence insisted that procuring systems from new vendors would create problems of integration. According to an India Today magazine report, the former Director General of Military Intelligence, Lieutenant General Thakur, let irregularities prevail. Strategic Affairs Editor Gaurav Sawant is joining us here in the studio. Deputy Editor Shiv Arur is also with us for more details. Gaurav, first to you. First of all, explain to us what irregularities have been found by the Court of Inquiry, because I believe this contract has not gone through yet. So no financial irregularity can then be established.
This is an extremely curious case. It's a sensational case, Maha, which has now led to an arrest warrant being issued against the former spy chief of military intelligence, a lieutenant general and a major general. It's an extremely curious case where there's deviation from norm, and why, that is what these generals need to explain. And unfortunately, according to top sources in army headquarters, they haven't joined investigations. And this sensational story that's there in this latest edition of the India Today magazine, it clearly indicates that these 2 generals did not cooperate with investigations when certain equipment for satellite imagery interpretation was to be purchased. They're alleged to have favored a particular firm, saying if you buy equipment from another firm, there would be interoperability issues. Now, initially the contract went through, but the problem in this was that when investigations were carried out, there were no interoperability issues, and that's point 1. What makes this case extremely curious is also the fact that one of the officers, just before he was to depose in that court of inquiry, he was found dead in his room. Now, post-mortem report indicated it was a heart attack, but many say there's more to it than meets the eye.
All right, Shiv, what happens now? There's been an arrest warrant that's been issued. So what happens in this case next?
It's an extremely serious issue, Maha. Obviously, you know, the details of this entire case, as Gaurav just spelled out, you know, for our viewers, are a matter under consideration by an official army court of inquiry that's been on since 2013. And the reason why this is so curious and so unprecedented, Maha, is because the man on our screens right now, Lieutenant General B.S. Thakur, who was the army's spy chief, and his deputy, Major General D.N. Asija, both top officers of the Directorate of Military Intelligence, which is basically the army's spy wing, have been issued arrest warrants against, because for the last 2 years they've simply refused to join this court of inquiry. They've refused to join the probe, which is actually really peculiar, because it was Lieutenant General B.S. Thakur and General Asija, the 2 people in the army's spy wing, who had actually, it was under them that this, this court of inquiry was actually recommended. So as Gaurav said, and as has been detailed in this edition of India Today that hits the stands in just a couple of hours from now, it's Sandeep Unithan, Deputy Editor of India Today's exclusive breaking story. Lieutenant General B.S. Thakur, who was the Director General of Military Intelligence between 2011 2011 and 2013. Remember, overlapping a time when General VK Singh was the army chief. He was the Director General of Military Intelligence at that time. When those irregularities came to light, he's been served an arrest warrant for not joining the inquiry, Maha. The other person on our screens left is Major General D.N. Asija. He's also been served an arrest warrant for not joining the inquiry. Now, why they haven't joined the inquiry is really peculiar, but there are several charges about this entire, transaction that didn't actually happen, unprecedented, because such senior officers, former officers, have been issued arrest warrants against.
Gaurav, what is going to be the likely impact of this arrest warrant that we're now hearing about?
Look, the two officers, and they've been amongst the senior most officers in the Indian Army, one 3-star general and one 2-star general. For 2 years, they've been asked to join investigations and they haven't. So one part of the story is they've been asked to join investigations. If they do not, then they face arrest. But that's one part of the story. The second part, and the far more damaging part of the story, is that military capabilities, military intelligence capabilities are suffering because the imagery interpretation equipment now stands paralyzed. You don't have that equipment. The intelligence apparatus is suffering, and no new equipment has since come in, according to sources in the army. So there's a twin impact, a double whammy as far as the army intelligence capabilities are concerned.
All right, so this 165 crore rupees contract has been put on hold, as Gaurav is explaining to us over there, and arrest warrant has been issued against these two top former military officers. Many thanks, Gaurav and Shiv, for getting us those details.